Hi, today's video is all about the Samyang 24mm VAF full frame lens. So this is one of Samyang's new range of VAF prime lenses for video. They come as a 20mm, 24mm, 35mm, 45mm and 75mm. 24mm, 35mm and 75mm are available as from now. The 20mm and 45mm will be released at some point this year in 2023, and they're all rated for 8K use. Before I go any further in this video, I have to apologise by the sound of my voice. I've just got over a terrible cold and had the lurgy for the last 2 weeks, hence why this video is a bit later than I'd like to have put out. But anyway, so I apologise about how I sound and occasionally slurring words where I can hardly speak. As this comes as a group of lenses, the colour is standardised throughout the VAF range. The lenses are all the same size, so they're easy to swap, especially if you're using a manual focus system, as they're a constant form factor. And at only 280 grams, they're super light as well. The lenses use a 9-blade aperture diaphragm and very smooth to use. The lenses also come with weather sealing, dust and splash resistant. They're designed for full frame cameras and at this point are only available for Sony E-mount. This lens is a T1.9, as are all VAF lenses. This shows as f1.8 in your camera. T-stops basically show how much light goes through to the sensor. The T stands for transition, where the f-stop is how much light is marked through the opening of the lens. One of the features of this lens and the other ones in the VAF series is there's a tally light built onto the front of the lens and on the side of the lens. This is actually really handy for seeing if you're recording yourself. Normally it shows green, but as soon as you hit record it goes to red. The only problem I have with this is most of my filters are 67 to 72mm. The filter thread for this lens is actually a 58mm. So as soon as you put a step up ring to put a larger filter on, for example, I have a mist filter on this lens at the moment, but I often run ND filters when outside. This will actually block the tally light, though you can see the light around the side of the lens still. Another feature of the lens is 2 buttons on the side. The first one is a switch that turns it from setting 1 to setting 2. Setting 1 is the standard setting. So when you're in manual mode, you can turn the focus ring and change the focus. And the button on the side also acts as a focus hold. When you set it to setting 2, you can actually use the focus ring to change the aperture, as there is actually no aperture ring built into the lens. There is just the one focus ring. This also cuts down the weight and the cost, I guess, of the lens as well. Setting 1 and setting 2 also changes the button on the side. So the standard setting for the button is to be a focus hold, though I have found that doesn't work the best for me for some reason. Something else it does is when you're in manual mode, you can hold down the button and it will retain focus to whatever you're focused on. You can change focus to something else. As soon as you press the button again, it will go back to the previous focus, which is really good for focus pulls. All these settings can be changed with the Samyang lens station. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those because you don't get it with a lens and it's an additional cost. Also, in the box, when you get the lens, it comes with a lens cap for the front and a lens cap for the back. The lens cap for the front is not the best. You can see on the front of the lens, there's like a metal ring, and on the metal ring, there's some electronic contacts. This is so you can add accessories in the future, and I think this is the big thing that will set this lens apart from other lenses. So the most important part of the lens for me, and obviously for most people, is the way it looks. It gives a kind of vintage vibe. It's good quality, it's sharp but not overly sharp, if that makes any sense. If you look at the nighttime shots I took around London, look at the street lamps and so on, you get this nice kind of bloom that I've noticed I get in vintage lenses. That's really nice, but you still retain the sharpness and the autofocus of a modern lens. So it does have some character, and it's a character I like. I like the look of these lenses. I think they behave very well. I mean, you can see this one here. I'm actually using a mist filter on here at the moment, so if I take this off we can have a look at what it looks like without the mist filter. So this is what it looks like without a mist filter on here, and especially just as I've got over some sickness I look probably absolutely terrible, so it's nicer to have the mist filter on there. It kind of blurs out the mess in the background as well. But as you can see, this is a very sharp lens. It looks great, so no problems with that at all. In fact, nowadays, any probably modern lens you get is going to be pretty good. So let's put the mist filter back on. So I did a quick vlogging test with this. I walked up and down just around my house to see how it looks. As you can see at this point here, I'm running it without the active steady shot, just to give you an idea of the size of the screen, and it works okay, but with that active steady shot you can see it's kind of bouncy, so you're not going to get the best view. And then here I've turned active steady shot on, and as you can see it crops in the view a bit, but you still get enough, I think, just to have a walk around vlog, especially if you put the camera down now and again and you just talk to the camera. It's going to be good enough for that. If it's handheld all the time, you probably would need some kind of something to extend it by a bit, some kind of stick. But because the lens is very light, it's easy to hold. Things I like about this lens: first off, picture quality. No complaints with it. It's exactly what I thought it would do. It matches up well with some of my other lenses. I like the colours. It's not too warm, it's not too cold. Works well for what I want. I also like in manual mode that you can do a save button for the focus. The focus breathing on this is not too bad at all. It actually works very well. It's not very noticeable, which I think is great. I'm excited about the adapters. I think this is what it all holds on, because if you can get some good adapters on this that do some various different things, I think you've got a winner. When you look at this lens, I think it's based on the Tiny Series lenses, and they're much cheaper. They're probably about £200 cheaper. These lenses are much more plasticky and much more cheaper than this lens, but they don't have this added feature. Now, if you can put an anamorphic adapter or an electric ND filter or something similar on the front of these lenses, and it works through the camera, or using technology that can read what the output is and works as seamlessly with autofocus, then I think this lens and the other lenses in this series will be an absolute game changer. It'd be worth spending that little bit extra money to get this lens and have that option of these adapters. That will be something very special, and I think that Samyang will absolutely kill with these lenses if they can manage to pull this off. A few things I don't like about this lens: it's focused by wire, which isn't too bad. I mean, lots of lenses are electronic focus, so when you focus, it goes quite smoothly, and this does feel smooth and it feels nice when you do focus. But if you focus really quickly, as you can see here, sometimes it just loses track and it just completely loses focus for a minute before you can get it back on track. Obviously you have to go really quickly and push it hard. I'll be honest, it does feel a little bit plasticky, the lens. It feels pretty good quality, but it's not like your higher end lenses. It hasn't got that all metal feel. I don't really like the focus hold button. That feels a bit flimsy. But overall, for the price, I can't really complain too much. You get what you paid for, and with this lens I think you get a little bit more than you pay for with the quality of it. So my overall feeling is I like this lens. I think it's pretty good. It's very wide. It gives a very nice quality. It's an f1.8 or t1.9 lens, and I feel quite happy filming with this wide open. If you step down a little bit, it does get sharper. I can trust this lens. It hasn't lost focus on me. Added adaptability that's coming in the future. I think Samyang will have a winner on their hands with these lenses. General feeling is, even without the connectors, they're good lenses. When they bring out their new connectors in the future, this should be something very exciting and very different. And hopefully I'll be able to do an update once they do bring them out. Personally, I'm interested in the 35 and 45mm lens in the future. So let's see what happens. Okay, thanks for watching. If this was useful for you and you liked it, maybe like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Have a good day. Bye bye.